Hello everyone, my name is Shelly Summerfield and I'm going to be doing a lesson today for first graders on the daily weather. It would be a lesson that probably would be taught at the beginning of a school year when you're going to be studying the weather every morning and comparing and contrasting the weather and the weather patterns. So I am moving ahead in time, and today's date would be September 5th, 2021, so the start of a school year. Hello, first graders. How is everyone today? Good. All right, you're going to see on your screen today we are learning about daily weather and the daily weather patterns. We're going to learn about the concepts of weather and the components that make up the weather. So what I want you all to do is think to yourselves, so keep it in your brain, what you think makes up the weather. When you hear the word weather, what do you think of? Do you think of the sun and the clouds and the rain? And then what we're going to do is in this unit, or in this lesson, we're also going to identify what the daily weather components are. So what you realized this morning when you looked outside, when you walked outside, what was the weather doing? We're going to record our observations, what we decided. We're going to record in our weather journals every day. And every day we're going to make predictions on what we think tomorrow's weather is going to be. And then we'll come back and see if our predictions were correct. So what I want everybody to think about is, what do we already know about the weather? What do we know? So keep it right to ourselves. Think about it. What do we know? Do we know it rains? Do we know it snows? Do we know it's sunny sometimes? So we're going to think about that, and I'm going to show you a short video, and we'll come back and we'll discuss different things about the weather, the atmosphere, the climate. So I'm just going to pause you for a second and pull up my video, so hold tight. On the weather song, so pay close attention to it. All right, guys?
It could be sunny, it could be windy, it could be cloudy, it could be rainy, it could be stormy, or it could be snowing. Weather is what's happening in the Earth's atmosphere. Weather is what's happening in the Earth's atmosphere. Scientists, they can predict the weather. They can do this by understanding patterns. Weather is what's happening in the Earth's atmosphere. Weather is what's happening in the Earth's atmosphere.
All right, hold tight again. I'm going to pause and get back to the lesson. So hold tight here for just a second. All right, so everybody's still with me? All right, what were some of the words we heard over and over about in that video? Anybody know? Weather, atmosphere, climate. We heard a lot about that, didn't we, in the video? Can anybody tell me what they think weather is? Raise your hand if you know. All right. Yes, the weather is the day-to-day variation in the atmosphere of the condition, and they can change really, really quickly. For instance, sometimes it can be really sunny outside, and next thing you know, it's pouring rain. Or one day it's nice and warm, and the next day it's cold. One day we can wear shorts, and the next day we have to wear pants and a jacket. So that's what weather is. It's kind of the change in the atmosphere. Another word we heard a lot was atmosphere. Can anybody out there raise their hand if they know what atmosphere is? Right. Atmosphere is a blanket of gases that surrounds the Earth. It's the mass of air that surrounds everything in the atmosphere. So that's what the atmosphere needs. And plants and animals, we need the air to survive. And last, something we heard a lot about was climate, wasn't it? So anybody know what climate means? If you do, raise your hand. Okay, yes. Climate is the average weather over many, many, many years. So for instance, the climate in Wisconsin is going to be much, much different than the climate in, let's say, in Florida, or the climate in Alaska, or the climate in Australia. They all are different, and it takes many, many, many years for the climate to change. It takes many years over time. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what the weather was like yesterday. Can anybody tell me, does anybody remember what the weather was yesterday? Yes, it was rainy, wasn't it? And according to my records, it was about 55 degrees yesterday and pretty rainy. Yeah, so we probably wore pants yesterday because it was cold, right? All right, so let's look at today's weather. And this is where you guys, our journals will come in, so pay close attention. So what's today's weather? So we look outside. Has anybody been outside yet today? Yes, it's cold. It's kind of chilly, isn't it? According to my thermometer, it's 52 degrees out, and it's pretty cloudy outside. I have not seen the sun yet today. Have any of you? No sun. A little bit of rain, but just kind of cold and damp out. Kind of icky out today, isn't it? So what we're going to do with this information is we're going to look at our weather chart. In this weather chart here, down on the left-hand corner, is where I'm going to record every day's weather. So today is Monday, September 5th. So I'm going to write that down. So I'm going to record Monday, September 5th, and then I'm going to write down what the temperature is. The temperature is 52 degrees. And I'm going to put, yes, it's very cloudy out today. I can put an X where the sun is. There's been no sun today. It's not very windy, I don't think. Any of you think it's windy out? Oh, I'm looking out at my trees and I do not see any of the leaves blowing or the branches swaying. And a little bit of rain, we can just make a mark here that maybe a little bit, but it probably was not enough rain to be measurable today. And also we will talk about predictions. Does anybody know what a prediction is? Yes, it's looking into the future, telling me what tomorrow is going to bring or the next day. And how we determine that is over time, we look at the patterns, what we think the pattern of the weather is. All right. So once we get that recorded in our chart, we will move on to what was the weather like last year on September 5th, 2020. The weather, when I looked it up today, the weather was sunny and it was 73 degrees. So do you think there's a big difference between 73 degrees and 55 degrees? Yep, there's a pretty big difference. Today, I am in a sweatshirt and a vest because it's kind of chilly out. And I bet last year at this time, I was probably maybe in a t-shirt and sandals. Doesn't show that there was any rain last year at this time. No clouds in the sky. Maybe a very light wind. And here again, I said shorts and sandals weather, t-shirt and sandals weather. So compared to last year, we spoke about this. In this year, there's a big difference in the change in weather, isn't there? All right. So in here, this brings us to what is our prediction for the weather tomorrow? What do you think the weather will be like tomorrow? And what should we wear? I'll give you guys a second to think about that. What do you think the weather will be like tomorrow? Well, yesterday was pretty cold and rainy, and today was cold and rainy. Do you think tomorrow will be cold and rainy? Or do you think we'll start warming up a little bit? Or will we get colder? What do you think? And what will we wear if it gets colder, if it gets warmer? This is all stuff we're going to put in our journals, our predictions and what we should wear and what the weather was today. So we will move on to our daily weather journal. So it's our first grade weather journal. And in it, we're going to start with the page that says my weather journal. And you're going to write your name here. This journal belongs to, so I'd put Mrs. Summerfield. And then next, in the next page, the date. The date is September 5th, 2021. So I want you guys to write that in that area. Then we're going to draw a picture here. We're going to talk about what the temperature is. It's 52 degrees. So what today's temperature is, we're going to write 52 degrees. How much did it rain today? Well, I don't think we have a measurable amount of rain. There wasn't enough to measure it. So I think we'll keep that empty here. And then in this next page, it says, what is today's weather? And what we're going to do is we're going to write about today's weather. Today's day. Today, the weather is cloudy. No sun. I think tomorrow it's going to be sunny. I'm going to wear shorts tomorrow. That's an example. You guys can think about it and write what you want. And some of my expectations for this journal is your pictures should be drawn and colored very, very neatly. And I should be able to look at your journal and say, oh, on September 5th, it was cloudy and it wasn't a very warm date by me looking at your pictures. We want to have correct temperatures and precipitation recorded. If there is precipitation out there, we want that recorded correctly. Your journal entry should be written very, very neatly. You should use capitalization, punctuation, and spacing that depicts or tells us what today's weather and tomorrow's predictions are. So I know. Are there any questions at all? Any comments? Raise your hand if you have one. No questions or comments? Okay, good. So tomorrow it'll be fun when we look at our predictions. And this is something we're going to do every day. We're going to look at our predictions and see how accurate we were. We're going to discuss the weather tomorrow. We're going to make new predictions for the next day. And we're again going to document our observations, record in our weather journals. And tomorrow we're going to get more in detail and discuss clouds and rain. And then at the end of the class, we will do an activity, which is clouds in a jar, and it shows how the rain goes through the clouds. It's a really fun activity. So we'll do that tomorrow. All right, everybody, thanks for being such good listeners today, and we will see you tomorrow.